Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to InfoComm Live 2023. Super excited to come to you on the show floor. Our topic today is all things exciting around Microsoft Teams, and I'm joined by some really great people. Nic Milani with Epiphan Video, Jimmy Vaughan of Microsoft, and Peter Stewart of Cyviz. So welcome everybody. It's been a fantastic show so far. Nic, how's the show been so far for you and the Epiphan team?
Well, it's been great. You know, one of the things I love, Ted, is that people are discovering us, they're learning about us, and we've had a ton of booth traffic. And, you know, we're a really unique company in this industry, as we'll get to, but let's get to the other stars of the show first.
You bet, you bet. Peter, how's the show been for Cyviz? How's the traffic been?
It's been fantastic. Really great turnout. We talk about return to office. It's been return to trade show as a theme this year.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And Jimmy, I know you're not with us, but you're certainly here and present. People are talking a lot about you, talking a lot about Microsoft Teams. What are you hearing? What's the buzz?
Teams is all over the place down there. I am sorry, yes, but I am home. Peter, it's return to trade show for everybody else but Jimmy, I think. But it's unbelievable, the amount of news, the amount of things that are coming out. I'm so happy to be here. I think, Ted, we have a lot to cover in this session too.
We do. So Jimmy, let's get started. Let's talk about some of the exciting announcements that the Teams device partners have brought to InfoComm 23. You want to help us out?
Yeah, I think there were a whole bunch of new announcements from all of our partners, but I think one of the things that I'm really sort of seeing, I'm excited about, is, you know, we've seen triple-digit growth in Teams rooms over the last year, and with that comes a lot of opportunities with those smaller rooms, and I think a lot of our OEMs really are capitalizing and have been capitalizing for the number of years. And I think soundbars were really sort of prevalent at the show this year. I've heard leadership from some companies before say, nobody buys soundbar. I think they're crazy, Ted. Why would anybody say that? Because everybody is making a soundbar. Everybody's buying soundbars. And I think it's really, really important to sort of outfit those smaller rooms. And that's why we're seeing this unbelievable growth in platform organization platforms that are basically taking over the conference room.
Yeah, I think it's really exciting, and let's hit a couple of the high points. Let's start with HP Poly. Brand new device they've announced, the X52, really great camera. Lots of people crowding the booth wanting to understand this. And of course, we've got to remember that it was Poly who really started this movement. They're the ones who came and said, let's do an all-in-one camera based on Android, bringing it to the market with Teams, and the X52 is really exciting. Jimmy, maybe let's talk a little bit about what Jabra is doing with intelligent cameras on the P50.
Yeah, one of the things in the blog post this week that was actually, I just did it on the last show that I was on too. One of the things in the blog post was the idea of Teams is really getting this intelligent recap. We here at Microsoft have the preview of it. It's an unbelievable opportunity for me to actually look at meetings and say, all right, what was talked about? And not only that, but actually give me action items following. With that, Jabra is one of the OEM partners that's going to be able to actually go into a room, be able to use that device that they have, the P50 out there, to actually identify who's inside of the room, so that when intelligent recap comes up, we know who's speaking. We know when it's me. We know when it's you, Ted. We know when it's Nic. We know when it's Peter. That's part of it, because it's not only important what's said, it's also important who said it, Ted.
Yeah, you bet. And of course, we've actually seen some really cool things on the Pro AV side. We've actually seen Sennheiser come out with a Dante-enabled video soundbar, so that's pretty cool too as well. What else have we seen at the show, Jimmy? What are some of the high points that your partners are delivering?
I think that it's really just about the idea of delivering this platform, this Microsoft signature Teams rooms, which is that all-encompassing, not only the devices that are inside of the room, but even the furniture and the lighting. We've seen so many Microsoft partners come together and say, all right, this is the way that we want to meet, and this is the platform we're going to meet on. And now we're actually delivering in that equity side. And not only that, I just want to point out, we're on Epiphan technology right now that can take that and actually expand that even further. You know, I know a lot of AV, Ted, sort of goes in and says, well, how am I moving source one, which is probably a computer, because I don't know any other sources that are really there, and how am I moving it from point A to point B? And this technology here really sort of gives you that opportunity, not just to deliver it locally, to deliver it globally. And that's an important part of everything that we're doing right now.
Well, I think that's a perfect time to bring in Nic. And Nic, thank you for hosting us here in the booth live. What you're doing with Teams, what you're doing for the capabilities on the platform. In order to do this in years past, we would have had to find ourselves in a broadcast studio. Talk about what's exciting with Epiphan, Epiphan Pearl, and how this is possible today.
Well, I'll just say simply, years ago, like you said, this would be a $500,000 production. It would require a lot of effort. We offer this through cloud-based tools that reach into the Azure server, extract the Teams feeds, and turn every space into a studio. So all those investments in Microsoft Teams rooms become mini studios for your executives to front-end video back to a production environment. The production environment we're using is $25 an hour for the extraction and $25 an hour for the production. So at $50 an hour, you can create broadcast quality events and push them back into your Microsoft Teams environment, push them externally to YouTube, LinkedIn, you name it, and then record the isolated views for on-demand video as a follow-up. So we're really trying to stitch together what have historically been disparate networks in a powerful way, allowing people to curate and share their story both internally and externally.
That's awesome, Nic. And quite frankly, for many who've ever been in a broadcast studio, there's racks and racks and racks of equipment, cables running everywhere. People might trip on them, spill their coffee. That could happen. It has happened. But Nic, do you have Pearl, the actual device that we're running here? I think everybody needs to see this.
Yeah, because I think this is a superpower inside this AV industry. What we're seeing is most folks are focused on content distribution, outputs, AV over IP displays, Teams rooms, signage, and a lot of people are struggling to get content into those networks. So take a really clever device like the Pearl Mini. It has a touch screen on the front of it, so it's a standalone appliance. I could head down to a local church, set this up, and within an hour be streaming out to the world. But it also integrates with all the major control systems, Crestron, Extron, QSys. On the back, it takes in HDMI, SDI, XLR, 3.5. It'll take any type of video feed you need, network-based or cabled. And at $3,700, it's a really easy way to mix and match those signals, and we allow you to enhance it by branding it, doing layouts, and creating switches, just like you're witnessing today on the far end of the show. So it's a really simple way to stitch together some of these major investments, but renew life into how do we communicate, how do we make video an experience both internally and externally. And I think one of the nuances here is, when we're collaborating, we're sitting and talking to each other like this, right here in the studio, and people are on the far end, and all of a sudden you're just in a standard Teams call, we're not making sure that the people are listening what we want them to focus on.
Right.
And that's the breakdown, right? Real communication, when you or I are on stage, we've got an auditorium, people are focused on us. We can make sure that we create that environment virtually, then push it back through Teams and create that kind of experience. We're focusing those folks on what we want them to hear, the story we want to tell. And unlike years past, it's totally approachable.
It is approachable, it's affordable. I know Microsoft internally uses Epiphan. They have lots of people. I'm actually really excited about this and was really glad to come by and participate because Epiphan provides this in combination with Teams. Nic, you mentioned a couple of the pro AV companies. One that I want to call out on the show floor, QSys. QSys is really addressing the modern AV approach, really driving to experiences, not only experiences for the people in the rooms, but experience for the IT professional. Their booth has been absolutely slammed, so congratulations to the QSys team. They're doing great things around Microsoft Teams and the Pro AV space. And Jimmy, you mentioned the fact that the Signature Series, this see me, hear me, what we're doing now via Teams and in combination with Epiphan and with remote production. We've got someone in Jordan, Amman, helping us out today. We've got someone in Canada. They're in our ear. They're able to help us. Truly, truly amazing. But Signature Series speaks to experiences. And I have to talk to our next guest, Peter Stewart of Cyviz. If you think about what the most high value, high impact spaces mean, the decisions that are made when CEOs gather or presentations are made, the most high value spaces here on the show floor that I've seen is this company Cyviz. So welcome, Peter. Really excited to have you. Talk a little bit about what Cyviz brings, and just as a little teaser, this is the solution on top of Teams that Microsoft uses internally, that Accenture uses internally, KPMG uses internally. So Peter, welcome, and tell us a little bit about Cyviz and how you build a super experience on top of Teams.
Yeah, thanks Ted very much, and great to be with you, Jimmy and Nick. I've been in this B2B communication space for over 20 years, and I see a unique convergence occurring, and I think the InfoComm here is the epicenter of that. We saw it happen with wireless technology, where finally, smartphones, the wireless networks, and applications all came together, and then usage just took off. I mean, Jimmy, you nailed it with you have these new devices for audio, for video, for displays, the functionality with MTR come together. And then Nick, you touched on leveraging all of that. So where Cyviz fits into all of this is you have, smaller rooms, media rooms, and then you have these high value spaces. And we're celebrating our 25th anniversary this year of focusing on those types of rooms, boardrooms, innovation centers, operation centers. But why, rather than talking about it, I'm going to kind of show you some of these spaces, and then I'll kind of give you the experience live as well. So, I'm right now actually here at this space. This is the Global Learning Center for KPMG. It's an executive boardroom. It's running team room systems. And you see the ability to visualize multiple content sources simultaneously on the video wall. And then obviously Teams with front row looks magnificent on an interface like this. Or you have high experiential spaces where it's highly interactive, like this GSK virtual store shelf planning studio, where somebody's walked through a space and they're selecting a toothbrush as part of the focus group. Or you have multi-purpose event spaces. Ilya, when he was doing his sessions this week, talked a lot about you have to earn the commute to come back, and the office needs to be a magnet. Well, this is certainly an elevated experience for people coming in, and it's multi-purpose. You can run digital signage, you can run video broadcast, town hall meetings, and you can have even team meetings on a space like this. Or even something like this, an operations center, right, that's monitoring IoT equipment all over a hospital area. So
and
Ted, you mentioned
all of this built on Teams as well, with Teams as
exactly.
the platform underneath it.
I mean, that is a dominant theme. People are raising hands on what video conferencing platform they were using. When they got to Teams, the majority of hands shot up at InfoComm. So that's definitely a tsunami happening. So this is, one of the most critical spaces for Microsoft themselves. We build on Microsoft technology stack. We integrate natively with team room systems, and there's 42 of these worldwide. You're seeing one here at Redmond headquarters, and this is where they're doing their most important briefings, all natively integrated with MTR systems, all about stories telling and journeys. And you can see, Teams front row has been a huge topic. Ultra wide displays were a huge topic at InfoComm, and you can see, works wonderfully together. So, I shot a live video from the floor. So why don't we switch to that, and you can kind of see what the experience looks like.
Now we're here on the floor of InfoComm Orlando 2023. So what we're going to show here is the combination of an advanced AV control system with native Microsoft Teams room system. So what we have right here is showing 4 simultaneous video sources. Can come from a laptop, a mobile device, really any video source. And through our control system, Cyviz does something really unique where we can have dynamic video pips that you move and resize just using finger gestures on here. So this makes it really easy to collaborate on information just like you would on your desktop individual user, expand it into a meeting room to have group collaboration that's more dynamic, more inclusive. As it relates to our integration with MTR systems, we support any of the MTR on Windows platforms. So that's Poly HP, Lenovo, Dell, Logitech, Yealink, Crestron. So when I click on conference call here, what you'll see is the native MTR interface, and any of the new features like front row are available and look great on an ultra-wide display. So you're bringing the best of both worlds together, where you have advanced AV control and native MTR user interface. So now if I go back and I were to close these video sources here, and we're simulating, a great MTR meeting with a new front row view, you have the ability to not only have that as a video source, but other sources together. So multiple cameras, multiple content sources, so it's an extension for the MTR rooms for high value, high impact spaces. So Cyviz really specializes in those rooms like boardrooms, innovation and experience centers, large auditoriums, divisible training rooms, and operation centers. So it's a great partnership with Microsoft. And the last thing I'll share with you, we also have worked very closely with Microsoft on their MTC, envisioning theaters, working with them to deliver these worldwide. So come visit us at one of our Cyviz experience centers or a MTC near you. Thanks.
Peter, that's fantastic. I love what Cyviz is doing on top of Teams. It's really clear with that minority report style, pinch and grab and zoom and move content, super engaging, super equitable experiences. Congratulations, and congratulations on winning some of the top companies in the world, Microsoft, Accenture, KPMG, and others. So that's fantastic. Really appreciate your being here with us.
Thanks so much. It's great to be part of this ecosystem. I'm really excited, like Jimmy said, about what the future holds here.
Excellent. All right, so Jimmy, let's wrap up a little bit here. InfoComm certainly returned to trade show. Lots of people, lots of excitement, lots of new investments. What really strikes me is that we've brought the cost of all this equipment down. Moore's Law certainly remains true today, now more than ever, but I think there's a new bar. And that new bar is, it can't just be about video and audio. Can you see me? Can you hear me? You've got to deliver better experiences. And your final thoughts, and then I'll throw it over to Nic.
Yeah, I think it's really, really important that we understand there's a reason why Microsoft says everybody must go to a Microsoft Teams room, because it's so much like, it's like you said, it's so much more than just the video and audio. I know so many people might say, oh, well, we've got to bring in this bridging service and we've got to account for this service. But even Peter said it, I mean, the explosiveness of Teams is there. We want customers to actually figure out what the platform that they want is. And if that is Teams, then let's make sure they're getting to Teams rooms, because the only way that they will be able to take their personal experience from Teams and transfer it to a shared space is a Teams room. That's 100% the bottom line. There's no, oh, well, we can just do video and audio over here. That's never going to get it done, especially in this day and age of intelligent recap, of all the things that are coming with Ted. I can talk about an hour for Copilot, and I can say Copilot, Copilot, Copilot.
I know you can.
All of the things, Ted, all of the things that are coming. I know it's been one of those things of, okay, we talk about it a lot. This isn't, like, oh, we're giving an MVP briefing where this is going to be 5 years. We're talking, this is coming this summer, and you're going to see so much advancement. Somebody here at Microsoft recently actually just said, we've done 10 years of advancement in 4 months. And that's the idea of what's coming. So I'm really excited for what's coming to Teams. I'm really excited for customers to see what's coming. And I'm really excited for this whole community to really grasp all of the opportunities that live around this space.
Yeah, and again, I just want to say, tremendous capabilities in what we've seen from all of the OEM partners, lots of new innovation, but I'm really particularly interested in the frontier spaces, what Cyviz is doing, what Epiphan's doing. So Nic, want to say thank you, and what Epiphan's doing for broadcast in association with Teams and democratizing this capability is tremendous. So thank you, and your final thoughts.
Well, thanks for joining us, and I really appreciate seeing you again, Jimmy. Peter, good to meet you and experience this together, because what we're demonstrating, and one of the things I love about Epiphan is we show, we don't tell. So this is real. We're here in the booth, and we can create these experiences for your organization, for all kinds of organizations. And just like as Jimmy, as you're talking about the Signature Series, as you're talking, Cyviz and those kind of really high-end experiences, it reminds me of 15 years ago. 15 years ago, we didn't have any of this framework. There was no archetypes of work. There was no activity-based work. There was no settings. There was no huddle room, small, medium, large, signature. None of that existed. And so one of the things I really value and appreciate about Microsoft is how they've continued to progress the way humans are working and put technology and service to us, not the other way. And when I think about the next frontier, I think about the broadcast community going through a similar evolution. See, today we think of live events as being this kind of exclusive thing that only happens when we have a big budget and a big reason. And Epiphan's breaking those barriers. We're tearing down those barriers and showing organizations of all types that you can look good, be good, and present your brand to the world in an impactful way. And let's be honest, in a video-first content world, the best-looking video rules the day. So Epiphan gives you that ability to tie into that Microsoft Teams investment you've already made, leverage all that great head-end equipment, bring it back into a position, and then share that story back out. And I just am really excited about what the future holds in that space for all of us.
All right, that's a wrap. So thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Nic. Live from InfoComm 2023. That's it. Cheers, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.